Hello everyone, welcome to the video lecture on applied hydraulics. In this video lecture, we will be discussing about impact of jet on curved vanes. We will be discussing about force exerted by the jet on a moving curved vane when the jet strikes the curved plate at the center. Force exerted by the jet on a moving curved vane when the jet strikes the curved vane at one end. So here we will be discussing about velocity triangle concept and force exerted by jet on a series of curved vanes. Now coming to the first one, that is force exerted by jet on curved plate or vane when the plate is moving. So here you can see this is a curved vane on which there is a jet of water hitting. In fact, this curved vane is also moving. It is moving with a certain velocity. Now, let us consider a fluid jet which is striking the curved plate at the center. The curved vane is moving with a uniform velocity in the direction of the jet. Let V be the absolute velocity of jet, U be the velocity of vane in the direction of the jet. D is the diameter of the jet, A is the area of cross section of the jet. Now, since the jet is also moving and the vane is also moving, the velocity with which the jet strikes the vane will be the relative velocity. I repeat, since the jet is also moving and vane is also moving, the velocity with which the jet strikes the vane, it is relative velocity. Here, since the direction is same, it is the arithmetic difference between the two values, that is V minus U. So, if you are traveling to some places, say let us assume if you are in a bus sitting near to a window. Now, if some other vehicle overtakes your bus, you may feel that the velocity of the overtaking vehicle is slightly more than your bus. In the same way, so since the jet is moving and the vane is also moving, the velocity with which the jet strikes the vane is relative velocity. So the relative velocity, here it is arithmetic difference of the two values, that is V minus U. Now, as I said, when the jet strikes the moving vane, the effective velocity is the relative velocity. So the component of this velocity in the direction of jet is V minus U cos theta. Minus sign indicates that the direction of this velocity component is opposite to that original direction. Mass of water striking per second. Mass of water striking per second, in previous case it was rho AV. In this case it is rho A V minus U. So if we apply impulse momentum equation, we have force exerted by the jet in the direction of jet will be Fx. Fx is given by mass of water striking per second into initial velocity minus final velocity. So mass of water striking per second is rho A into V minus U. Initial velocity with which the jet strikes the vane, it is V minus U. Final velocity with which the final velocity at this outlet tip is V minus U. We need to find the component in the direction of jet, which is V minus U cos theta, but with a negative sign. So if we substitute the value, if we simplify, it is rho A V minus U into V minus U plus V minus U cos theta. So V minus U you can take common. If you simplify, it is rho A V minus U whole square into 1 plus cos theta. The work done by the jet on the vane per second is force into the displacement. So it is given by Fx into U. So if we substitute the value of Fx and U, we will be getting the work done per second. Likewise, the kinetic energy of the issuing jet, is half mv square. M is the mass of fluid. The mass of fluid which is coming out of the jet, is rho AV. So if you substitute the value, the kinetic energy of the issuing jet will be half rho A V cube. Now, let us determine efficiency. Efficiency is given by work done divided by kinetic energy supplied by the jet. Efficiency, as I said, it is given by ratio of work done divided by kinetic energy supplied by the jet. So, if we substitute the value, work done is rho a into v minus u the whole square into 1 plus cos theta into u, and kinetic energy supplied by the jet is half rho a v cube. So, if we simplify, we will be getting 2 v minus u whole square into 1 plus cos theta into u divided by v cube. Now, for a given value of velocity, the efficiency will be maximum when d eta by du is maximum. So, in order to get the condition for maximum efficiency, differentiate this equation with respect to u and equate it to 0. So, if we differentiate this equation, so here 2 1 plus cos theta divided by v cube is constant. This cannot be equated to 0. So, the variable is v minus u the whole square. So, d by du of v minus u the whole square into u, sorry. So, if we simplify v minus u the whole square into u, it will be u square plus v square minus 2 uv into u. So, if I am simplifying it, it is 3 u into u square is u cube. If we differentiate it is 3 u square, then u into v square is differentiation of d by du of u into v square is v square, differentiation of 2 u square v is 4 uv. In fact, I should not have written this. Now, since 1 plus cos theta into 2 divided by v cube cannot be 0, so 3 u square plus v square minus 4 uv should be equated to 0. So, if we simplify, the factors of this equation are v minus u and v minus 3u, that is u is equals to v or u is equals to v by 3. So, when u is equals to v, the work done will be 0. So, for maximum efficiency, the velocity of the vane should be one third the velocity of the jet. So, if we substitute this condition u is equals to v by 3 in the previous equation of efficiency, you will be getting maximum efficiency. So, maximum efficiency eta max, if we substitute the value of u, which is v by 3 or v is equals to 3u, you will be getting the condition for maximum efficiency. So, which is 8 into 1 plus cos theta divided by 27. So, for hemispherical vane, theta is 1, sorry, theta is 0. So, hence cos theta is 1. So, if we substitute that value, we will be getting eta max as 16 by 27, which is 59.25%. Now, let us discuss few problems. A jet of water of 60 millimeter diameter strikes a curved vane at its center with a velocity of 18 meters per second. The curved vane is moving with a velocity of 6 meters per second in the direction of jet. The jet is deflected by an angle of 165 degrees. Assuming the plane to be smooth, we need to find what is the thrust on the plane, the thrust on the plate. There should be plate in the direction of the jet, power of the jet and efficiency of the jet. So, here if you go through the problem, you will come to know the velocity of the jet is given, which is 18 meters per second. Diameter of the jet is mentioned, which is 60 millimeters. The velocity of the vane is mentioned, which is 6 meters per second, and angle of deflection has been given. Angle of deflection is 165 degrees. So, theta will be equal to 180 minus angle of deflection, which is 15 degrees. So, force exerted, you can use the formula directly. Force exerted by the jet on the vane is rho a into v minus u the whole square into 1 plus cos theta. So, if we substitute, you will be getting the value of force, which is 800.42 Newton. Now, work done per second. Work done per second is equal to the power of the jet, which is the product of force into vane velocity. So, if we substitute the values, you will be getting the work done, which is 4802.56 watts. Efficiency eta is defined as ratio of work done divided by kinetic energy of the issuing jet. So if we substitute the value of work done, which is 4802.56, and kinetic energy of the issuing jet, which is half mv cube, if we substitute the value, you will be getting the efficiency as 58.25%. Coming to another problem, a jet of water of diameter 7.5 centimeters strikes a vane at its center with a velocity of 20 meters per second. The curved plate is moving with a velocity of 8 meter per second in the direction of jet. The jet is deflected by an angle of 150 degrees. Assuming the plane to be smooth, find the force exerted by the jet on the plate in the direction of jet, power of the jet, and efficiency of the jet. So this problem is similar to the previous problem, only the numerical values have been changed. So here the velocity of the jet is 20 meters per second, diameter is 7.5 centimeters. So we can find the area of the jet using the formula pi by 4 d square. So force exerted by the jet on the vane is given by the formula rho a into v minus u the whole square into 1 plus cos theta. So if we substitute all the values, we will be getting the value of force exerted as 1187.12 Newton. Now work done. Work done is given by the product of force exerted by the jet into vane velocity. If you substitute the values of force exerted and vane velocity, we will be getting the value of work done as 9496.91 watts or Newton meter per second. Efficiency. In the same way, if we calculate efficiency, which is ratio of work done divided by kinetic energy of issuing jet, so we can find the efficiency, which is 53.74%. Now coming to an important topic. So this topic is force exerted by the jet of water on an unsymmetrical moving curved vane. Here the jet is striking the curved vane tangentially at one of the tips. So in this case, the vane is also moving, the jet is striking. So here the curved vane is unsymmetrical. Now figure shows a jet of water striking a curved plate tangentially at one ends. Figure shows a jet of water striking a curved vane tangentially at one of the tips. So here the jet of water is striking the curved vane tangentially at one of the tips, and as the jet strikes tangentially, the loss of energy due to impact of the jet will be 0. So in this case, the plate is moving as the plate is moving, so the velocity with which the jet strikes the plate is the relative velocity. In the previous case, the direction of motion of the jet and direction of motion of the vane were same. So the relative velocity was the arithmetic difference of the two values. Here the direction of motion of the vane is in horizontal direction, and direction of motion of the jet, it is not horizontal but at a certain inclination. So the relative velocity is the vector difference between the velocity of the jet at inlet and the velocity of the vane. Let V1 be the velocity of the jet at inlet. U1 is the velocity of the vane at inlet. VR1 is the relative velocity of the jet and plate at inlet. Alpha is the angle made by the jet with respect to the direction of motion of the plate. It is also called as guide blade angle. Theta is the angle made by the relative velocity with respect to the direction of motion of the vane. So here there are two velocity components, Vf1 and Vw1. Vf1 is the velocity of flow at inlet. So this Vf1, it is Vf1 is the perpendicular component of V1 and Vw1 is the horizontal component of V1. So Vf1 is velocity of flow at inlet, Vw1 is whirl velocity at inlet. We will discuss how do you draw this velocity triangle diagram slightly later, but let me tell you now about the notations. So here V2 is the velocity of the jet which is leaving the vane, U2 is the velocity of the vane at outlet, Vr2 is the relative velocity of the jet with respect to the vane at outlet, beta is the angle made by the absolute velocity V2 with respect to the direction of motion of the vane, pi is the angle made by the relative velocity with respect to the direction of motion of the vane. As we have considered here Vf1 and Vw1, so here also there is velocity of flow and whirl velocity at outlet. So Vf2 is the perpendicular component of V2 and Vw2 is the horizontal component of V2. So Vw2 is whirl velocity at outlet, Vf2 is velocity of flow at outlet. The triangles ABD and EGH are called as velocity triangles. So let us discuss how do we draw the velocity triangles. Let us discuss how do you draw the velocity triangle. The first step, we need to take any point A and draw a line AB which represents V1 both in magnitude and direction, which means line AB makes an angle alpha with respect to the horizontal line. So if you observe the diagram here, so AB is a line which is representing V1 both in magnitude as well as direction. Next, we need to draw AC which is equal to U1 both in magnitude and direction. With A as origin, we need to draw AC representing both magnitude and direction. Now, according to the triangle law, according to triangle law, if the two sides are represented by the velocities which are vectors, the third side represents their resultant. So here BC represents the resultant of V1 and U1. So BC is nothing but the relative velocity. If loss of energy at the inlet due to impact is 0, then CB will be in tangential direction to the vane at inlet. Now, at B, we need to draw a vertical. At B, we need to draw a vertical and we need to extend AC such that this vertical and the line extended AC will meet at a point D. So BD represents the velocity of flow Vf1 at inlet, and AD represents the whirl velocity at inlet. So this is how we will be drawing the inlet velocity triangle diagram. Now coming to the outlet velocity triangle diagram, before that, if the vane surface is assumed to be smooth, so the jet will be simply gliding over the vane. So here the velocity with which the jet strikes the vane is the relative velocity. Its value is equal to Vr1. So if we assume the vane to be smooth, the jet velocity at the outlet will also be same. If the vane surface is rough, then the velocity of jet at outlet will be slightly less than Vr1. Now, since we are assuming the vane surface to be smooth, okay, so the relative velocity of the jet at inlet and outlet are same. So we need to represent Vr2 at E both in magnitude as well as direction. So from point E, represent Vr2 both in magnitude as well as direction. So Eg represents Vr2 both in magnitude as well as direction. Now from G, represent the vane velocity at outlet, which is U2 in both magnitude as well as direction. Now EF represents the absolute velocity of jet at outlet, and EH represents the perpendicular component, that is velocity of flow at outlet, and FH represents the velocity of whirl at outlet. The same thing has been mentioned here. So we need to draw EG in the tangential direction of the vane at outlet, both in magnitude as well as direction. From G, we need to draw GF in direction of the vane at outlet equal to U2, which is the velocity of the vane at outlet. EF represents the absolute velocity of jet at outlet, both in magnitude as well as direction. From E, we need to draw a vertical line which meets line EH. From E, we need to draw a vertical line EH to meet the line GF produced at H. So EH represents the velocity of flow at outlet, and FH represents the velocity of whirl at outlet. Now, if we assume the vane to be smooth and having the same velocity at inlet as well as outlet, so U1 will be equal to U2. Let us consider U1 is equal to U2 is equal to U, which is the vane velocity in the direction of motion. Also, if we are assuming the vane surface to be smooth, the relative velocity will be same, that is Vr1 is equal to Vr2. Now, let us apply the impulse momentum equation. So mass of water striking per second is equal to rho A Vr1. So in the previous case, here we had taken V minus U, which was algebraic difference. So here it is vector difference. So mass of water striking per second is rho A Vr1. So here A is area of jet, Vr1 is the relative velocity of the jet at inlet. Likewise, force exerted by the jet in the direction of motion of the jet will be mass of water striking per second into initial velocity in the direction of motion of the jet minus final velocity in the direction of motion of the jet. But initial velocity is Vr1, final velocity is Vr1 cos theta, that is the horizontal component of it. So Vr1 cos theta is nothing but Vw1 minus U1. Let me call this as equation 2. Similarly, the component of the relative velocity at the outlet in the direction of motion is minus Vr2 cos theta, which is Vw2 plus U2. It is having negative symbol. Let me call this as equation 3. So substitute the value of equation 2 and equation 3 in 1. Let me repeat this once again. So force exerted by the jet in the direction of motion of the jet is Fx, which is mass of water striking per second into initial velocity in the direction of motion of the jet minus final velocity in the direction of motion of the jet. So the initial velocity is Vr1, but the component of velocity in the direction of motion is Vr1 cos theta. So Vr1 cos theta is Vw1 minus u1. Similarly, the component of relative velocity at the outlet in the direction of motion is minus Vr2 cos pi. So if we simplify from the velocity triangle diagram, it is Vw2 plus u2. So negative sign indicates that Vr2 is in opposite direction as compared to the original direction. So if we substitute the value of 2 and 3 in equation 1, we will be getting the force exerted by the jet on the vane. So Fx is equals to rho a Vr1. So initial velocity is Vw1 minus u1. Final velocity is minus of minus Vw2 plus u2. So minus of minus will become plus. So if we simplify, this will be Fx is equals to rho a Vr1 in the bracket Vw1 plus Vw2. Now, this equation 4 will be true only when beta is acute. So here, if beta is less than 90 degree, then only equation 4 is valid. If beta is 90 degree, then the velocity of whirl at outlet will be 0. So equation 4 can be rewritten as Fx is equals to rho a Vr1 into Vw1. Now, if beta is obtuse, the expression can be rewritten as rho a Vr1 into Vw1 minus Vw2. So in general, depending upon the value of beta, the expression can be written as Fx is equals to rho a Vr1 into the bracket Vw1 plus or minus Vw2. So work done per second on the vane by the jet will be force into the displacement. So Fx into u. So if we substitute the value, Fx is rho a Vr1 in the bracket Vw1 plus or minus Vw2 into u. So work done per second per unit weight of fluid striking will be work done divided by weight of fluid striking per second. So if we substitute the values, work done per second, that is rho a Vr1 into Vw1 plus or minus Vw2 into u, and weight of fluid striking is nothing but mass into acceleration due to gravity. So if we substitute and simplify, we will be getting the value as Vw1 plus Vw2 into u divided by g. The unit is Newton meter per second per Newton. Similarly, work done per second per unit mass of the jet. In the same way, in the denominator here we had considered weight of fluid striking per second. So instead of weight, if we consider mass, so the expression will be Fx is equals to u into Vw1 plus or minus Vw2. The unit is Newton meter per second per kg. The efficiency is given by output divided by input. Output is work done per second on the vane. Input is the kinetic energy of the jet. So if we substitute the value, the work done per second is rho a Vr1 Vw1 plus or minus Vw2. Input is the kinetic energy, which is half m v1 square. So if we substitute the value and if we simplify, we will be getting this equation, rho a Vr1 into Vw1 plus or minus Vw2 into u divided by half rho a V1 cube. Now, coming to the force exerted by the jet on a series of curved vanes. This is a representative diagram. Here you can see on the periphery of the wheel there are a number of curved vanes fixed at a certain constant distance. So let us consider a jet of water striking a series of curved vanes mounted on the periphery of the wheel at a fixed distance. V is the absolute velocity of jet, U is the velocity of vane, D is the diameter of the jet, A is the cross section of the jet. Now, here in this case, the mass of water striking per second is rho AV. Why? Because every time the jet will be in contact with one or the other vane. That is why mass of water striking per second is rho AV. So, if you apply impulse momentum equation, the force exerted by the jet on the vane is given by F is equals to mass of water striking per second into initial velocity minus final velocity. Now, in this case, the velocity with which the jet strikes the vane is the relative velocity, which is, so since the direction of motion of the jet, direction of motion of the vane and direction of motion of the jet is same. So, here it is algebraic difference, that is V minus U. So, the initial velocity with which the jet strikes the vane is V minus U, and the final velocity is the horizontal component of the outcoming jet, which is minus of V minus U cos theta. So, if we substitute these values accordingly in this equation, so force exerted by the jet on the vane is rho AV into V minus U minus of minus V minus U cos theta. So, if we simplify, it is rho AV into V minus U into 1 plus cos theta. So, here work done per second is force exerted into the vane velocity U. So, it is rho AV into V minus U into 1 plus cos theta into U. The kinetic energy of the issuing jet is half mv square, which is given by half rho A V cube. Now, efficiency of the jet is work done per second divided by kinetic energy supplied by the jet. So, if we substitute and simplify, we will be getting 2 into V minus U into 1 plus cos theta into U divided by V square. Now, this efficiency will be maximum when we differentiate. In order to find the condition for maximum efficiency, we need to differentiate this equation and equate it to 0. So, d by du of 2 into Vu minus U square into 1 plus cos theta divided by V square. So, here 1 plus cos theta divided by V square into 2 is constant, we can take it outside. So, that is d by du of Vu minus U square. So, differentiation of Vu is V, differentiation of U square is 2U. So, since 2 into 1 plus cos theta divided by V square cannot be equated to 0. So, V minus 2U is equals to 0. So, either V is equals to 2U or U is equals to V by 2. So, for maximum efficiency, the peripheral velocity is half the velocity of the jet. So, if we substitute the value of U as V by 2, we will be getting the equation for maximum efficiency, which is after simplification it is 1 plus cos theta divided by 2. If the curved vane is exactly hemispherical, then theta is 0. So, efficiency is 100%. The theoretical maximum efficiency may be 100%, but this cannot be applied practically. The angle of deflection, we will be limiting it to 160 degrees to 170 degrees. What will happen if we take exactly hemispherical vane? The outcoming jet will be hitting the back of the incoming vane. So, the overall efficiency will be reducing. So, in order to overcome this problem, the angle of deflection is limited to 160 to 170 degrees. So, this ensures that the jet coming out of the bucket does not interfere with the jet striking the bucket. So, these are my references. Thank you.